So he basically stole my icebreaker because I wanted to tell that story. I was sitting really there last year, and I was thinking, this is the first time on some Agile conference, and it would be really nice to be here. So now, after 1 year, I'm standing here, and I wanted to say thank you to Agile Tour Vienna, because there is this program for the young talents, people under 30 years old. I'm not under 30 years old, but I applied when I was 29, just saying. So they support you in preparation for this talk, because this is my first time on stage, so I'm really looking forward to share our journey with you. So what is this talk about? You've heard today in the keynote talks about some problems and about some things in the big company, in traditional company. And when I was listening, I was thinking, oh wow, this is really similar to my talk and the things which I'm going to say. But then I realized this, in my talk, you will hear the story about our journey. So you're going to see the real-life example of those things which we also have faced, and some things might be familiar for you. You will say, this is really, that's what they were speaking. So without further ado, I would say we start with this journey. First, let's start with some questions. Who are we? And this is really important for this kind of story, I would say, because we are one, in my opinion, one big company. Of course, comparing to the other companies in USA or somewhere else, we are not so big. But we are the biggest energy provider in the company. And this here, if you don't know, if you're not from Vienna, this is our trademark, actually. This is Spittelau, so if you have time to visit, please do that. And this is like, this was, architecture of this building was Hundertwasserhaus. Hundertwasser, nicht Haus. So basically, it's a really nice place to see, so please do that. And we are the biggest energy provider in our company, in this country. We have more than 2 million customers, and we have more than 2,300 employees. I think we are going towards 2,400 actually now, but it's not so important. And we have more than 150 years of history as a company. So this can get you a picture of what are we working at, or where I was working and where I'm still working. But why is this now important? Because back then, even though this company had more than 2,300 employees, our IT department was only 25 people. So it's a huge gap, as you can see, between IT and our employees. And why is this important? It's because we, as IT, back then, were the leaders of this transformation. We were the ones trying to influence the other parts of the company. So then you might ask, why change? Why start a change on such a big scale? Well, the short answer is, we had to. We didn't really have a choice to do that. What was going on? As you know, we had, as I said, like more than 2 million customers we have, and then back then, because of some situation in this world, there were some problems because of the war. Energy prices have gone up. There was a whole chaos. If you're from Vienna, you know what I'm talking about. Our gas, electricity prices went up, and this, of course, created a little bit of chaos. And then the whole idea was that we were not ready for that. As you can see, this is the back part of Spittelau, which I showed you. So this was in the winter 2022, outside of our customer service. So basically, we weren't ready, and we didn't have any digital solutions for our customers. If they wanted to talk about their contract, if they wanted to file a complaint, they had either to call us or come to us. And of course, when you let your customers wait outside at -5 degrees for 2-3 hours, this is not the best sign, right? And of course, as you know, the newspapers, they also started talking about us and said, oh, well, they don't have enough resources, they are not strong enough, people are going to leave, and this is what really have happened. Of course, we were not the only energy provider here in Austria, so people would go to the others. So we started losing our customers, and of course, this was a wake-up call for us. Back then, when we realized that what is happening, and of course, bad press, everything is going down, we realized, okay, it's time to change something. Let's put our customers on the first place. Let's focus on our customers and their needs. That doesn't mean that we didn't do that before, but now more. And we put it in the focus. And this was actually also the idea behind this transformation. Because as an IT, we said, okay, we want to make our customers happy. We want to satisfy them, but we don't need, or we don't have any IT solutions for that, any digital solutions. So this is how everything has started. And as I said, we have more than 150 years of experience as a company. So that means we are a traditional company. If you have ever worked in the company, maybe the word demand manager will tell you something. For the newer people, maybe not, but I will explain it shortly. Basically, in old companies, the old ways of working were like we had a separation between business and IT. And if business wanted to implement something, they would call the demand manager. They would say, hey, we need this, 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 and this. And then the demand manager brings that to the IT, and they do it. And this was one-way street. So we said, okay, guys, if we really want to focus on the customers, if we really want to make our customers more happy, we need to go to the different role. We need to start collaborating together. We need to start working together, IT and business. We have to go away from this IT as supplier role to the IT as enabler. And this was our start. And this was our base for the whole transformation. And what's interesting about this transformation, because it was also in the first talk, it was mentioned, we didn't use any framework. So we didn't choose SAFe, thank God. So, so we really said, okay, we start, and then let's see how do we do it, right? And then to answer the last question, and then I will go straight to the topic, why me? So basically I was there. I was happened to be there, and after they started doing this transformation, they invited me and recruited me as an agile coach. So they needed a support, so I could bring, I guess, also the fresh perspective. I'm a young professional going from the newer companies, a little bit more modern companies, to one traditional one. So this is also for me really overwhelming, because when I came to this company, everything was new for me. I have never seen before this separation between IT and business. I didn't see so many roles. What is IT demand manager? Then on the other level, service manager, and thousands of roles. You know, Scrum guide, 3 roles, everything is perfect, and stuff like that. So this was, I think, a biggest challenge also for me, but they needed a support. So I was there. So basically, how do you start? How do you start such a huge transformation? How? Lego. Huh? So we were thinking, of course, how do you start? How do you start? How do you make a point? Okay, we are 25 people. We have to influence many more people. How do you start? How do you make a point, and how do you show that it's possible to work differently? So we decided, as in many cases back then, we start with a pilot project. Yes. So, but how? We used a small secret ingredient. Can you guess it? Please. Collaboration, of course. So that's the transformation. So we decided to bring people together, right? So how did it look like? Our idea was, we have different people, we have IT, we have business, we put them together, they work together. Let's start with a project. Simple as that. You might remember this from the from the first talk. So thank you, Aino, for the picture. So basically, when you start with that project, in most cases, what you do is you build one team, right? One agile team, you call it agile. They have the Scrum Master, they have all ceremonies. You say agile is same as Scrum. Then you put them in the fake environment, you make somehow that team work, right? So this is what happens in most of the companies. This is what I've also seen. But in the end, we didn't want to go that way. We didn't want to try that, because for us was a key to put them into the real environment. Because, of course, when you have something like this, and then in the end, it's a success or no, and they say, yeah, it's a success, it was an amazing project, you roll it out, and everything falls down really fast. So we decided to create a dream team, not an agile team, a dream team consisting out of all necessary roles from the IT and business. And Of course, we gave them the Scrum framework. We explained to them what is a Scrum, how do you do it. We gave them I wrote it Scrum Master, but I would call it Team Coach, because somebody who is supporting them towards their transformation. And we did really 4 important things. We didn't put them into the fake environment. We said, okay, we're going to let them work in the environment how they are, just in that new constellation. Then on the other hand, we gave them power to decide. So we brought all people who can make a decision inside of this team and let them, okay, we want to make them accountable, give them that. Then we reduced the long decision times. And in the end, we asked them what to change. How can we evolve? How can we change as a team, and how can we make this work? And this was really interesting point, because I was happy to coach a little bit that team in the beginning. And this was really interesting to see for the first time IT and business coming together and the ways of their working. Because in the retrospective, when I asked them, especially the people from the business who are a little bit longer in the company, to say that correctly, a little bit longer in the company, and I would ask them, so what do you think? What can we do differently? What will make your life easier? I got nothing. So why should I know that? And this was like also for me really a big realization, because I was thinking the people have never thought about how they are working. They were just doing things. And this, as a Scrum Master, with many retrospectives, with many discussions, we came to that people were starting also to talk about how they are working. What can they change? And this, as a Scrum Master, was really nice feeling, because this is why we do it, because you see the people involved. And this was the first step where we broke those walls, and where we started doing together. It was amazing. And in the end, the team was success. They had a deadline. They finished it before the deadline. They are still a team, and they still deliver. So we decided to keep this pilot team, call it that way, and make them work further on this product. So this was for us really amazing success story, and we are still using this success story. And it's helping, because this was the first time that we showed, hey, we can do it differently. It's possible to work in a different ways. And after that, we asked the team, okay, pilot project is now over, now you're working as a team. What are some positive stuff? What didn't go so well? And key points were, they had a clear focus. They knew why and what for they are developing that thing. And this was really that feeling of meaningful work, because they knew their internal customers. That project was only for the internal employees of the Wien Energie, and they succeeded. They were talking, they were exchanging all the necessary things in the Scrum framework. So it was really a success. But on the other hand, we also asked what is not so good, and it was still that silo thinking in the company. It was still business and IT. And of course, because we as an IT wanted to rush a little bit this transformation, we just put them into in the agile environment, and then we didn't explain the roles well, especially for the people who were the first time facing agile ways of working. So we can say that our first challenge, our first project was a success. But we didn't know that the new challenge was, or we knew, but we didn't know that this type of challenge will be coming towards us. So in the beginning, we had a chaos, and then we had one team, right? In one traditional company, the news spread really fast. So that's what I can tell you. The communication is a really big part of the traditional companies. There is so much to improve there. But the good news is we had a team, and now the news spread. And people have heard, okay, there is some team doing really fast, they are developing, they are delivering before the deadlines, it's fun to work there, and so on and so on. So now, everybody wants to be agile. So everybody comes and say, we want to do that too. We want to have also one team. We want to do, because we had so many topics inside of our company, not only agile topics, but also waterfall topics. And now everybody wants to do Scrum and have team and I don't know what. So we said, okay, but we are not ready for that, We are only 25 people. How can we do that when we have so many topics? So we decided, okay, this is a challenge for us as an IT, as a company, we have to tackle this. So big initiative has started. Now, back then we started as department out of the 25 people, and now, right in this moment, we are around 70, more than 70 people. So in the last 1.5 years, a little bit more than that, we grew for almost 300%. And the idea of this recruiting strategy was not only to find the people, because we have more topics, but we also wanted to find people who have already been working in the agile environment. Why? So they can help us pursue this transformation even further. So we found the product owners, we have found many people, and also when you're such a small department, back then 25 people, you have to outsource a lot. So basically we wanted also to take that knowledge and bring it back to our company. We wanted to have people who were having knowledge inside of our company, not at some other external suppliers. And then this is the time when the new delivery teams have started to form. We have many of them, and it was a nice time. But is the word you will hear a lot in my talk. But we were not the only ones. So the same thing was happening on the business side. And you might ask, why? Well, no communication. We come back to that. So now we had teams all over the company. Many delivery teams doing who knows what, and they were everywhere. In the IT, in the business side, one business department, second business department, and we didn't know. So we didn't have any idea that that was happening inside of the company. So we can say that our challenge of recruiting new people was done. So we found the people, even a little bit more than necessary. But now we had a problem that we had many teams. So of course, the challenge arose, now what? Now we have the teams, what do we do now? So our organization actually felt like this. All over the place, many teams, but no connection point, no touch point between them. And as I said, we didn't even know that they are there. So we decided, okay, we know that something is existing. We don't know yet what exactly. But let's try to untangle that. Let's try to deal with that chaos. And of course, we used the small secret ingredient from before. You might remember, collaboration. Exactly. So we started and said, okay, let's do the easiest approach. Let's put the people together. And this is what we did. We have brought almost all teams together. And you might ask, why almost? Well, the answer is we didn't know which teams do we have in the company. We knew that we have few product owners somewhere. So we decided, okay, let's start slowly. Let's pick them up. Let's combine them, the people who we know, and then we will see what happens. So this is when our delivery organization came to place. So the idea was really simple. We bring the people together who have some teams, who are working with the teams, mostly the product owners. We let them sync, we let them meet each other, but not only them, but also business representatives, the people who know what is going on inside of their business department, because sometimes also the product owners are in their bubbles. So we needed somebody who is on a little bit higher flight level to help them. And this was the first time when we started thinking outside of our silos. And you might ask why? Because for the first time, people have seen each other. They've met each other, they were talking about the roadmaps, about the dependencies, about all things which you would normally do. And that was the first time that they've seen each other and said, hey, but you are the new team, what are you developing? And I will come to that for the results of this organization. But first, I want to share with you how that looked alike. It was really simple. We had one meeting weekly where all POs would come. They would say, okay, this is my plan. We have these topics going on. Maybe we will have these dependencies. Let's figure this out. Really easy, really simple. But what we did change inside of this organization is the way of planning, right? From the last talk, they said in traditional companies, you have to plan for a whole year. And this was also the case in our company. He said about the September something, we had to do that in June. So in June, we had to say for the whole next year what we are going to implement. And then you don't know what is going to happen in 3 months, but not in 1.5 years. So this is why when we started doing our planning a little bit differently and just one small mark. We didn't fix the budget problem. This is about planning. Budget problem is the other topic, right? We will come to that later, maybe. So we said, okay, if we cannot plan for 1 year, let's plan for 3 months. Let's sit together and make one roadmap together in some kind of a big room planning meeting, and let's see what dependency do we have. We will report that to the management and say, hey, these teams are going to do this and those things. Sounds amazing, and this is what we actually did. So as you can see, this was the first time, or one of the first times we had a big room planning meeting. There were only 20 people there, around 20 people. And it was more like a presentation style. But as the time passed by, as those big room plannings passed by, we realized we have many more people who are involved than what we initially have thought. So now, back then, we grew. We grew as a company, and in the end, there was like 80 people inside of this meeting. Talking with each other, we also brought together the people, developers, testers, all the roles together, sitting in one room, discussing their projects, and discussing what has to be done. And this was amazing to see. The energy inside this room was really amazing. We also flew sometimes the people from India because, as I said, we had some crucial parts being developed outsourced, and we said, okay, come once in a year just to meet people so we can collaborate together. And this was really, really nice experience. And this now, after this, our organization started to get a form. Our chaos started to get form. So we went from the decentralized completely to at least some of the teams had a connection points. Okay? So we could say that this challenge was also a success for us, in a way. But for us right now, for this point of the story, it was a really good success. So let's summarize for a second. We started with the chaos. Then we defined one pilot project. Was success, everybody happy. Now everybody wanted to be agile. Then we went, okay, everybody wants to be agile. We built all delivery teams. So we built delivery teams all across the company. And now we started to coordinate them. Sounds nice. But the results of this organization were really mind-blowing. And you might ask yourself, why? Why when they are just collaborating and working together? Well, there are 3 key points which we have understood through this organization. First, the teams were sometimes implementing the same things. So that means we were doing the double things. Second of all, we were affecting other teams much more than we initially have thought. So we had many more dependencies than what we have thought as a team. And third, some of those things which teams were implementing didn't bring us any value. And then I can remember one example. We were implementing, I don't know what feature. It was a crazy feature, really long. And then in the end, only 80 people were using it from the whole company. And then we had to put a finger on our head and say, hey, does it really make sense? So that's why we asked ourselves, how do we put right people on the right topics? And this was a really huge challenge. So what did we do? Well, not this time. So what we did, we had a new ingredient, and this was portfolio management. Yes. Or at least we thought we were doing that back then. So idea was, again, really simple. As I said, we didn't have any framework. But the idea was simple. Let's put people who know what is going on in the company and let them decide and answer following questions. Does this bring us any value? Does it make sense to do what we are doing? What is the priority of these things? Because we, as I said, we didn't have only agile topics because we are the energy company, so we are living in really highly regulated environment. So we also had some waterfall projects and law requirements. So the goal of this team, of this part of the company, was to decide the priority and just ask the question: is this right thing to do? And they had to do the prioritization about the strategic goals. They should all define cross, not only in the IT, but also cross department, because in the business we also had many departments. But you shouldn't forget that we are a big traditional company. And I wanted to put also the slide from the last thing, but I didn't manage to do it. And old patterns were coming out. You could see that really old patterns, fear of losing control. We have to control the people. We have to tell people what to do. Our department, their department, all those things were coming out. And this reminded me, and probably if you're working as an Agile coach or Scrum Master, you have probably seen this picture. Who wants to change? Everybody wanted to change. Everybody knew that situation is not the best. Not the best. We want our customers to be happy. And then on the other hand, who wants to change? But also there is a third part about this, and this that we were also, as an IT department, pushing a little bit the change. And the third part is that people don't want to be changed. And this is really important thing. And we, as new, highly, newly grounded, highly skilled team in the company, we started to push that. We said, okay, we will do this like this. We have to do this. And of course, the people from the business side, who were much bigger department than we, they were thinking, well, you're only 25 people, 70 people. You're new group. You don't know how we are working here. So why are you telling us that? And this is where we started to collide and hit again those walls between IT and business. But of course, as an IT, you always have to fix things, and you want to try to fix it. We see that it's possible differently. We see that it's possible to work in a different ways than before. So we try to define a new collaboration model. This is just a sketch. This is not the final slide. So we decided in the sea of those all roles in the side of the company. So this is now not really important slide, but we had many roles. We decided, okay, let's build a a collaboration model, which will help us create the base for our collaboration. Let's focus on only 3 roles from IT and business, which will help us develop really the best software for our customers and best solutions. So, photo seems simple, and the model was simple. So on the business side, and please, this is no hierarchy, this is a partnership. So as you can see, those lines on side, they are bidirectional. So the idea was simple. We had one person from business, we called it business owner, so from one specific business department, and this person should know what is happening inside of this department. That means which topics are on the way, what is the plan for the implementation, for the growth, what are the strategic goals, and so on and so on. So everything which is supposed to happen in this side of this part of the business, they should be aware of. And this was their goal, to prioritize that inside of their business. So this is the first part. So plan on really high level. On the other hand, on the left side, you would have a business partner, IT business partner. This was the person who was supporting business owner in planning those initiatives. Why? Because, as I said, we had many dependencies, many different topics. So basically, this person should also have understanding of the overall IT topics, and they should help business owner prepare all those initiatives. Initially prepare, not everything. So, and they, as a business partner, should also coordinate between the other business departments. And then on the third part, we had a product owner. So this part, the product owner with the team, of course, in the connection, they should be responsible for the implementation. Together with the Agile team, they should all implement those strategic, let's call it goals, or strategic ideas out of the specific business department. And this, on the paper, looks amazing. So they work together, it's easy, communication, bidirectional, everything, all happy, right? Well, yeah, still an old company, still a hierarchical company. We have to say, or I have to say, the reality hit us really differently. As I said in the beginning, there was a demand manager. And because we, as an IT, were really progressive, we saw 5 steps ahead out of the current situation. We didn't commit and we didn't really understand the current situation in the company. So we just said, okay, now we delete this demand manager role and now we start living this golden triangle, which I showed you. And of course, that created even more chaos. People from business were lost. So basically, our implementation was not on point. We removed just that role, and we were expecting, hey, they will follow along. Even though we defined the roles, all of those 3 roles together with business, there was still a gap. There was no change management, just we said, we do it. Just live with it. And of course, people from business were not so happy about it. So this is what we have learned, or we have seen that we were a little bit too fast. And this was also from the past talk. It's really important to have this situation how it is, right now, in this moment, to understand the people's needs. We didn't do that. We were pushing our own story, and we did it too fast. But still, one big thing which we have realized that it's not only about the new roles and implementing new roles and solving problems with the new roles, but it's also about the mindset and cultural change. We need to take people with us. Because people, especially the ones who are working in the company for a longer times, they are used to the ways of working. They don't need a change. And if you start throwing away new roles and new collaboration models, they are lost, especially if you don't give them time, if you don't coach them, if you don't teach them. And this is one of the key learnings with our model. But as I said, we are not surrendering yet with this model. Now we are also, again, after almost, I don't know how many months, we want to revisit it. We want really to start thinking again about this model, if this is possible to do it. Because this should give us some base, as I said, in our opinion, it should give us the base of the really good products for our customers. So now we are again talking with business, we are still developing, we are still thinking how we could implement this in order to make this thing work. But who knows, maybe we will also see in a few months that this is not for us and we will just pivot somewhere else. But if we solve it in the next days, who knows, maybe I will come next year again on this stage and share with you some interesting information, because as I said, it's a good module, it's a simple module, but it works. And as I said, we still didn't surrender, we still didn't take safe, and we didn't accept it. So this is also one thing. So until the next time, until we figure this out, let's sum up this talk and let's sum what our biggest lessons were in this situation. So I don't have to tell you that, also not the SpongeBob and everything, you know that collaboration is the key. It's the key for the really successful company, because only people working together can bring some solutions, really good solutions for the others. Then the trust. Also in the previous talk, there were words about trust. It is really necessary to trust the people who are working on, and it's really important to empower people, to give them power to decide. It is really important to enable people to do their work. And this is what we also have learned. Then the next thing was courage, of course, to try new things, because especially for the younger people, and I can tell that from my perspective, in this huge traditional company, sometimes it's hard, it's overwhelming, it's difficult, sometimes people get scared to even start something, but I encourage you. Actually, this is my next slide, but it's okay. I encourage you to try new things and do the thing roles. We will come to that right away. The new roles do not solve the problems. This is what we have learned on a hard way. And bottom-up agility is really hard. As I said in the beginning, we were really a small team, and we tried to influence 2,200 people. And this was really a hard and difficult job. But it's still possible. And it's still possible to do small changes, to do something. But if you have support from your upper management, it's much easier. And then lastly, my biggest lessons for you. So this is what I was talking before. So first of all, people are scared of word agile. When you say that, everybody's like, oh, what's that? New ways of working, and this is something we are changing the whole company. New work, new everything. So be careful with using that word, especially in the beginning. This is one of the things. Second, don't forget the change management. Don't let people behind. Sometimes we, as an IT, especially if you're working in an IT department, we are more progressive. And this is really interesting, because my coaches preparing me for this talk told me you have to pace down, to slow down with your talking. It is the same as with the IT. We need sometimes to slow down and just take people with us. Maybe it will take a little bit longer than expected, but as they said, it's a journey, not a project, right? Less is more. We tend to overcomplicate things with the roles, with the models, with the meetings and everything. So really try to focus it slim as possible. And then the last thing is basically, it had to do something with the courage, but yeah, small steps lead to greatness. I know it's hard, and especially, as I said, with the younger people, younger professionals struggling in this traditional company, but just do it. I believe that you can, because you, with your, let's call it spark, you can also spark the other people. If you show them that it's possible to work in a different ways, you can also do it, or they can also do it. So it's time, just keep on doing it. It's hard sometimes. It's sometimes demotivating. It's overwhelming. But with small steps, you can really make a change. With that, I hope I will. So thank you for your time, firstly, and I hope I will see you next year.
Thank you very much. If this is the young talent, I'm very hopeful for the future. Yeah? So hopeful to see you next year. And thank you for this entertaining and very insightful view behind the curtain. We have a few minutes left. Excellent timekeeping, so we can take a few questions. Are there any questions?
Oh. What? Sorry? How long was the journey? We started this journey at beginning 2023, actually. So it was like 1.5 years until now. Yeah, until the start. Yeah, start was at January 2023. Yeah, this is the answer. So it was like 2 years of a span, something like that, and still ongoing. We're still working on it.
For me, it's very interesting that the IT drives such a change. So what would you say, what is the reason why isn't the business driving such a change, if you are allowed to speak freely here?
Good. I will try to be as neutral. No, I think they had their own topics, and this is the idea, because they were also overwhelmed in this situation. And they were doing their own change, just it was in different parts of the company. And this is also part of our journey, where they said, okay, you are small IT, we want this, you cannot deliver this, we are going to do it on our own. And this was also the mindset. And now we realized that it's time to change that. It's time to combine it. So they did it in a way, but then officially we took over that and we were starting to progress it more. And of course, on the other hand, the whole idea was to build the new IT solutions for our customers. So that's why IT in charge, I guess.
Also from me, thank you for your presentation. This is really interesting because I also work in a company that's a little bit traditional. And your experience, I can relate to that. One question, you are trying to make your own way to collaborate between the different agile teams. Did you consider some existence methods like LESS or Nexus? Of course, not safe, but and when not, why not?
I think we did. So back then, that was a long time ago. We did discuss something, but we wanted to keep it lightweight. We didn't want just to say, hey, this is how it should be, but rather we wanted to build like one collaboration together. We wanted to build, not to discover the warm water again, or how they call it here. But the idea was, okay, let's start slowly. Let's start picking up people, and then we can see how it goes. I think some of the methods, of course, portfolio management, it's also the part of the SAFe, and I'm talking bad about SAFe, but those, we took just the parts of it. We tried to apply that to our organization, what was the best in that moment, and this is how it grew. And of course, it would be easier to say we have the LESS model, or I don't know which model, but we decided to go a little bit slowly, and because you cannot really do it in our case. Then, yeah, if you want to connect and share the information or share knowledge, or if you have any questions, please add me on the LinkedIn. And yeah, I will be also here drinking coffee afterwards, finally, relaxed after this talk. So thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.